All right, two big takeaways on the Caravan tonight from the president's interview with Laura Ingraham. First, the president is sending active duty military to the border rather than additional National Guard troops, 2,000 of them already there. Second, he's signaling it's going to be much tougher for migrants seeking asylum. So let's bring in Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton to talk about all the latest developments. Mr. Attorney General, good to have you.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Okay, so we know 5,200 active duty troops are going down. We're told that they are not going to be confronting migrants. They're going to be logistics, helping with aviation, medicine, staging areas, but there's been plenty of backlash. I want to read you something from the ACLU. They say this: President Trump has chosen just before midterm elections to force the military into furthering his anti-immigrant agenda of fear and division. The reality is that many of the non-citizens arriving at our borders are exercising their right in international and domestic law to seek asylum from violence and persecution at home. Your response?
That's ridiculous. You know, the president has an obligation to defend the border and to protect the citizens of this country and of my state from illegal immigration and some of the consequences that we've had to deal with in my state over the last, decades and decades. And so he's doing his job, and I hope he continues to do his job. I think he's doing a great job, actually.
Well, and interesting in the Washington Post reporting on this today, they said this: Mexican President Enrique Peña Nieto on Friday offered temporary work permits, medical care, and other benefits to migrants if they agree to register with authorities and remain far from the U.S. border. But the core group of mostly Honduran migrants has rejected his entreaty and continued heading north toward the U.S. border. What obligation do people have to stop in a country they're passing through if that could be a safe spot for them versus coming to the U.S., which clearly is going to have a better economic situation?
Well, look, there's an opportunity for them to avoid what's going to happen at the border, which I don't think Trump is going to let them in. If you look at what he's relying on, it's the same law that he relied on with the travel ban, which says that he specifically has the authority to limit entry of any class of non-resident aliens that he views as detrimental to the country. In this case, that's what he's relying on. The Supreme Court upheld that in a recent case that you're familiar with in June, Trump versus Hawaii. And they said basically the president could limit the scope, how long somebody came in, when they came in, whether they come in, and the conditions of how they come in. So he's perfectly within his rights to stop them from coming into this country, including getting asylum.
While we have you, I want to ask you about another case that has cropped up. This is a voter fraud case in Texas. 4 people have been arrested, indicted on voter fraud charges that they paid others involved with the scheme where they were allegedly going to try to put together absentee or mail-in ballots and try to mark some of them up or scam people out of their ballots. The attorney for the main woman who's been charged says that it is politically motivated and it will be dismissed. A lot of folks, casting doubt on whether there is actually an issue of voter fraud in this country.
Yeah, there is. And look, this is an ongoing investigation, so I don't want to comment specifically on that case, but I will say that we've prosecuted many other cases in this state. If we had more resources, we'd prosecute more. This narrative that there's no voter fraud is just not true. I can tell you we are pursuing many, many cases in this state, and if, like I said, if we had more resources, we'd pursue more.
All right, we're going to keep an eye on the border in this case as well. Attorney General Ken Paxton of Texas, thank you.
Hey, thank you.